Today I am setting up and testing Starlink for the very first time for high-speed RV internet. You can see what I mean right here. For some reason it's straight up and down. This will be my first iteration, I guess, of antenna mount. All right, time to get connected. I'm Tom.
And I'm Cheri.
And we're EnjoyTheJourney.Life.
I wanna run in wide spaces, fly like the wind in high places, rushing like water on my face, with your hand in my head. Ooh, I wanna dance into the morning, kiss you like you've never been kissed before me. I would go anywhere you wanna go, with your hand in my head.
And this is a good spot to test it. We don't exactly have a completely open sky. We've got a large tree on one side. So I'm looking forward to seeing if Starlink lives up to all the hype. Now I could set it out here on the ground like a lot of people do. That would be easier, but I like to put it on the roof of the RV. That way it's more out of the way of any potential trees like this one right here. And it keeps it safe from, nobody messing with it. Now where to mount this thing that's gonna get the best internet here. We've got this huge tree right there, a few lower palm trees here, which I don't think are gonna be a big deal. So here we go. We are at 1,000 Trails Encore RV Park in Florida, and we're kind of out of the metro area, and our other internet sources, cellular for example, are not doing the greatest. So I'm hoping that Starlink does the trick. This will be my first iteration, I guess, of antenna mount. Maybe not super permanent, but we'll see how it goes. Got a couple ideas. Warm, hot Florida day. So because I might be moving the dish around depending on tree cover and the site that we're in, I'm not looking for a real permanent solution right now. I'm sure I'll do something different in the future, but I'm gonna go ahead and use the base that came with the dish and just kind of secure it up against our ladder portion up on the roof here of the RV. I'm going to go ahead and slip that in there. That's locked in. And just use a simple clamp like this to secure it to the ladder post. I mean, we've got storms on their way in, and we don't want this thing blowing off of the roof or something like that. I know people set them around and just kind of leave them, but you want to kind of secure them in some way. I think people have used zip ties. I don't know. I'm just going to trust this a little bit better than the zip tie. And yeah, we'll see how this works. Now, if you decide to get Starlink internet for RVs, make sure you do in fact get the RV version. There are several advantages to that despite the higher price. It's guaranteed connectivity in a Starlink active area. For example, the map right here, I'm in Florida, and this would be completely full. There's lots of other Starlink users. If I did not have the RV version, we would not be able to log in. Yes, it's not as fast as what some of the other Starlink users are getting, but hey, it's plenty fast for the most part for what we need it for. That's pretty secure. I don't think that's gonna go anywhere. I'm feeling good about that. I'm gonna go ahead and put the extra washers and nuts on there just in case. And you can see right here, Starlink is reminding me that because we have the RV portability, that we will get slower connection speeds. And also during certain high use time frames like 5 to 10 p.m. for example, it will give us this warning here that the network is congested, that lots of people are wanting to get online.
Starting to hear thunder.
Besides the guaranteed connectivity in a Starlink available area, you also have the ability to pause the internet as well. So if you are a part-time camper and you only need Starlink a few times during the year, you can pause it during the other times and not have to keep paying that monthly payment. So what did Starlink RV internet cost? Our initial payment, a little pricey, but I think still worth it, $692.11, and that was to get it shipped to our campsite, and then it's $135 per month that we want service. There are Facebook groups for RVers that have Starlink, and so you might consider joining one of those to get some ideas on how other people are mounting them. I'll go ahead and link the previous videos that we've done with Joshua and Elizabeth, rooted off grid, and show some of the mounts that they've used in those videos. Those will be down below. And we've mentioned this on other videos that we are not using just one internet source. We always have layers of backup just in case, because some sites, certain services you can't get, like maybe AT&T, Sprint, Verizon, whatever you might be using. Sometimes it doesn't work. We actually have 3 sources for RV internet because actually trees are a huge, the biggest single issue with Starlink is trees, and many campsites have lots of trees. Actually, the FMCA has a plan for $60 a month. It is unlimited internet through AT&T, and they might slow speeds at 75 gigs if it's in a congested area. I haven't experienced that yet, but again, in places where we can't use the Starlink, we need to go back to our cellular internet solution. All right, time to get connected. So you can see this huge tree I have right here, but I'm going to bank that over here. We've got a couple of short trees, but pretty much wide open space here. So cross our fingers, this will work. So what is the solution for getting Starlink when you've got trees? A good saw, an axe? Just kidding, don't cut down any trees. But what you could do is when you reserve at a campground or an RV park, you could request a site with little to no trees in advance if that's possible, or if you're not being assigned a site until you get there or a few days in advance, which happens at a lot of the parks we go to. You could always check it out before you set up your RV. Look at the site. Is it going to be something you're going to be able to have a mostly clear view of the sky? If not, talk to the campground office and see if they will give you a new site to go to that has fewer trees. That's one solution. But of course, if you are boondocking, then you get to choose, where you put your RV, so you can choose a more open spot. And that means in these hot summer months, you may not have the shade that you want if you've got to have that clear sky view for your Starlink. And down here, we'll take the other end of the cable and just push it in through an open window. There's a little natural notch right there that I'm going to put the cord in that allows me to still close this window tightly. Put the screen back on, and we've got the router right here. It's kind of cool. You can see the angled plug. Looks like this is designed to go outside if you had to. like maybe it's waterproof. There's like a gasket on here. Go ahead and plug it in. It's nice and tall, doesn't take up too much space. Should go ahead and check out the Starlink app here, see what that looks like. Gotta join the Starlink Wi-Fi. Starlink, there we go. Gotta enter the network name and the Wi-Fi password. That must be a generic thing. And it says that it's connecting to satellites, and it might take a few minutes. It's looking straight up right now, and that tree's kind of hanging over. You can see what I mean right here. For some reason it's straight up and down. I'll see if this is gonna work the first time. Still says it's connecting. Finally, says setup complete, you're all set. So we'll hit done. Starlink online. We'll check the speed here, figure out what it is, just as it's starting to rain outside. That's looking pretty good. 163 megabits per second download and 16 megabits per second upload. That's not super fast, but I will take that over what we get on some of our other devices any day. And we'll just keep an eye on that here in the storm, see what that looks like. And we first saw Starlink in an RV with Joshua and Elizabeth Webb's amazingly upgraded Grand Design Solitude. Here we are when we first met them up in Bridger Teton National Forest. They were getting amazing internet there in the Teton National Forest, and actually they let us bum some of their high-speed internet, which was awesome. And their YouTube channel is Rooted Off Grid. I will put a link down below to that, plus some of our other videos that we've done with them. And I also met up with them in Tucson, where they were also getting amazing Starlink internet on some BLM land out there in the desert. And click right here to watch all of our RV internet videos.